So you started your career behind the camera. So
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about the transition and how your experience behind the camera sort of makes you a better frontman.
Okay. Well, as a writer, you write and then you see your words out there. There's kind of a thrill to that. Now, there's no in-betweeners, right? There's no actors to interpret your words. There's no other entity to get in the way of what you want to say. So everything about you comes forward. Obviously, we're all writing all the time. Whatever we say, we wrote, right? It's just instantaneous now. And you also have the face to go with it, the facial expression to go with it. That tempers the writing. So it's extra writing. It feels like a more direct form, it is obviously, of expression. So I like it. And I studied theater in school, and so I have this kind of theater background, acting, writing, directing, producing, editing even. It's all branches off the same tree. So I actually enjoy every aspect of it.
So your show is specifically about food, and most people who are really into food have a formative childhood experience, or a dish that was really important to them as a kid. Do you have that? Is that true of you?
Well, it's no secret. My mom's a wonderful person. I want to say that first, but it's also true that she wasn't the best cook. Sorry, but it's true. She would admit it. I think she does make one good thing. You'll see it on the New York episode. We feature it. So there wasn't a real dish at home. So what I loved as a kid was everything all the other kids loved, which was fast food. And I'm talking about all the famous fast food places. I also love pizza, hot dogs, fried chicken, everything, all the junk food, all candy, all chocolate, just junk. I didn't get a great meal until well into my 20s, I think. Yeah.
So then how did you transition to a foodie?
I traveled. I got a cheap flight to Europe, and that blew my mind. That really changed my life, and I recommend it to all of you. You don't have to have a lot of money. You can get to Europe, I think, for $99 if you want. It's worth saving up for and doing. Go anywhere, even someplace near your house that you haven't been to yet. It's mind expanding. It's the most mind expanding thing we can do is travel. I actually think the world would be better if we all could experience a little bit of someone else's experience. So take that tiny step outside your comfort zone. You're going to always find that it's worth it.
Well, and speaking of Europe, how did you choose the locations that you went to in the show and the special guests that were going to be there? Yeah,
I'm trying to get you to travel. So I'm starting with Earth's Greatest Hits. I'm starting with the most accessible places to Americans, especially because 2/3 of Americans don't even have a passport. And I want you to travel. So I'm starting with the places that will be easy for you to adapt to, meaning there'll be a hotel, there'll be a bed with a pillow on it. You're not sleeping in a hut on the floor. It's a lot of people speak English wherever I'm sending you, and the food is pretty accessible too. It's all kind of familiar stuff you can get here. The difference is it's way better there. Like if you like Italian food, guess where it's really good.
So if you were to do more episodes, what are some of the dream places you want to go in the future that you haven't tackled yet?
Oh, there's so many places just in the United States I haven't covered on the show yet. Chicago and San Francisco and Charlotte and Philadelphia. These are great food cities. Boston. There's so many. There's places. Austin, Texas. Come on, you got to do it.
So the Netflix show is actually a revamp of a previous show and a concept you've done before. Yeah. What are some of the changes that we're going to see in the new show?
It's pretty much the same. It's now shot on 4K, which means everything in it is beautiful except for one thing. And then I have a theme song that I love. That's the big difference.
Can you hint at the theme song?
Can I hint at the theme song? Well, it's out there now. It's Somebody Feed Phil. That's the theme song. It's done by Lake Street Dive, this great band. I recommend them too. You should get their records.
What was your favorite dish you had over the course of the first season?
Oh, God, so many. In Thailand, I had this crab omelet that I talk about incessantly. It's like a pound of crab. It's like a football filled with crab, this omelet. And that's one of the most delicious things I ever ate. And in that same episode, there was a bowl of cow soy, which is this coconut curry soup with fresh noodles and chicken and all these chilies and spices and crispy noodles on top. Wow, that's delicious. It costs $1, by the way.
So tell us a little bit about the experience of working with Netflix.
Freedom is the first thing that comes to mind to do the show I want to do. That's not to say they don't have any input. They do, and their input is actually great. They have terrific notes, and yet I'm free to do the show I want. Their notes they've told me, are just suggestions, and I usually take them because they're very good. You know, a good note can come from anywhere, and I welcome it. I really do. These are people, first of all, they're the first people you're showing your show to, and you want the show to translate to other people. So I welcome their input, and it's smart. And then beyond that, you know, you push a button, they push a button, and suddenly your show is everywhere on Earth. So because they're the biggest network in the world. So I'd be crazy not to want to be there.
So you're really well known for working in scripted television. What are some of the freedoms and interesting realities of unscripted television that you've discovered in making that transition?
I find that you're free to do what you want. You don't have to think about writing so much. You're just being. And then the writing really comes in the editing when you're putting it together, when you're choosing what to include and actually what to exclude from the show. A theme starts to form, and it turns out that that's the point of view you want to convey. Well, that's actually writing. And so I love the freedom and the honesty of the documentary form.
So your show is travel and food. It invites, you know, a very unignorable comparison. Today we lost Anthony Bourdain. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about his legacy and how Somebody Feed Phil will be continuing that on and factoring into that?
Oh God, I couldn't in my wildest dreams, I don't think I could reach the heights that he reached. He you know, transformed this genre. He made this genre that I try to emulate in my way. It's in no way anything near what he's doing, because he evolved into a great journalist besides being a great food writer, a great chef, all things I'm not, and a great adventurer also I'm not. In fact, my joke about, which I talked about almost every day in talking about this show, was I sold the show to Netflix by saying I'm exactly like Anthony Bourdain if he was afraid of everything. But he did he paved the way for someone like me to come in to do a take on his type of show. I will continue forward with a message of love and hope and possibility for the world to come together. I like to say, instead of a wall, how about a table? Because I think that food is the great connector. He was great at showing you that. For me, laughs are the cement. Maybe that's what I can bring to this genre, just because that's my background. But we owe any of us who travel, any of us who eat, owe a great debt to Anthony Bourdain, who to me was a superhero.
What's one more thing you want to, or what's one thing you want to tell people to tune into Somebody Feed Phil?
Why to tune in?
Yeah.
Hopefully it will inspire you to go. I feel like I don't want you to live vicariously through me. I want you to look at me and say, if that putz can go outside, maybe I can too.